All right, snow camp. Whoa, sorry. Snow camp, how are we feeling? Good? Good. There are so many decisions and logistics that the whole team and the Lifeline team works through to get us to this point, and I just love this first night session because it's like we're here and we're expectant and we're excited for a great weekend. And I want to start our first teaching with a little, I would call it like a guessing game, okay? So have you heard of like what are the odds, or like facts about what are the odds that you get eaten by anaconda or whatever, right? So I'm going to say what are the odds that, and then it's one in whatever, okay? So what are the odds that you are born with an extra finger or toe? Discuss with your people next to you. Finger or toe. All right, let's see the answer. See if you got close. 1 in 850. Was anyone close? That's exactly right. There are about 850 people here. So look around the room. Who could it be? No. All right, next one. What are the odds of you experiencing a serious injury from a toilet? Not on a toilet, but from a toilet. All right, let's see it. 1 in 10,000. So, if you've experienced a serious injury from a toilet, you are special. Next one. What are the odds of winning $1 million in the McDonald's Monopoly game? Let's see the answer. 292 million. There's a chance, you guys. If all of us pooled our money, thank you for participating. Last one, and this isn't a guess, this is more of a crazy stat. Some people calculated the chances based on genetics and based on ancestors and based on all these different scientific and personality factors on the chances that you exist. Based on the generations of people that would come before you and decide to have kids, based on you and all of your you-ness and your personality, not someone like you, but you, yourself, the chances are this. The number is a little confusing. It's 10 and then 2,685,000 zeros after the 10. So the number doesn't even exist. It just looks like kind of a weird symbol. But let this sink in. Quiet down a second. Let this sink in. The chances of you existing, the chances of your parents having you as a baby, and then their parents having them as babies, and then their grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-great-grandparents, and then the science around you and your genetics and you and your DNA makeup, all that stuff, is close to an impossibility that you exist. And there are a lot of people in this world who might say, like, if we exist by chance, by circumstance, by random order, and all those things. But I believe that God's truth tells us that each and every person that lives and has lived was put there by a creator, by an intentional and wise and beautiful creator behind the creation. My friends, you are a miracle. That's kind of nice. You're a miracle. And there are days, a lot of days, where I wake up and I look at myself in the mirror and I don't look at myself and think, miracle. I think you have things that you should work on. I'll look at myself in the mirror and I'll think, okay, I wish I was a little thinner, or I wish I was better at this or that. In fact, sometimes when I'm considering like you guys, I think like, okay, I need to be a certain or better at X, Y, and Z so that these students can have a healthier or better or more connected to God pastor. Or I think my wife deserves a better husband, and so I need to work at it, and I need to grow in it. And there are times where I'll look at myself in the mirror and think my kids need a better dad and all this stuff. But at its foundation, and purely from those big numbers that we saw on the screen, whether you have things that you need to work on or insecurities that people may not know about you, you are a miracle. And I believe that walking around with this perspective, not like, I'm a miracle. Hey, ladies, I'm a miracle. Like, not like that. It's not a good pickup line. But walking, sorry, that was weird. That's not how you pick up ladies, everyone. Hey, it's me. No. No. Walking around with this idea, not only in your brain, but kind of sunk down into your heart, I actually think can change every single day of your life. You know, there's a guy named David. He was one of the most influential people in Israel's history. He was one of the most successful kings they ever had. And if you read through the Old Testament, there are lineages that are like, they highlight the key players in their ancestry, and they'll talk about being sons of David or being a part of the family of David. One of the names for Jerusalem is the city of David. David was a big deal. And there were things that, if you read through the book that David wrote a lot of, the Psalms, there are things that he often wasn't sure about. He has psalms and songs that he wrote out as prayers saying, God, where are you? I feel like you've abandoned me. I feel like you've turned your back on me. David is a great figure to look at because he's not clean and polished. There are things in his past, and even when he was a king, that made him normal, made him a mix of good and bad. And yet, there is this Psalm 139, where David is proclaiming to God in praise of his Creator something that he is certain of. And I want to show that to you tonight. This is in Psalm 139. And this is what David says. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex, he says to God. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. Listen to this. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion. And as I was woven together in the dark of the womb, you saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. David is saying, how marvelous your work is that you would create me. He's praising God for his act of kindness. And as we're starting off our snow camp series called Life, we're going to walk through a timeline of your life. I just want to say something that I think can transform every single day of your life, and that's just you are here because of God. You are here because of God. You exist not by some random circumstance of science, but you exist because the creator of the universe dreamed you up. You exist because the one who is infinitely wise and creative and beautiful said, this is the world, and you might not have been, but you are. I wanted you here. And I want to walk through where I think this can transform our perspective. So if we can go to the next slide. You are here because of God. God dreamed you up, and He gave you the gift of life. He gave you the gift of existing. He gave you the gift of living on this beautiful, beautiful earth that He created. For me, this transforms my days when I think of the times where maybe you're like this and you deal with this, where you don't feel super significant. The days where you feel like, does anyone see how hard I'm trying? Or does anyone see how much of an impact I'm making? Or does anyone even notice me or see me? On those days where self-doubt creeps up and tells you that you are insignificant or unworthy or nothing, I want you to remember that you are here. You exist because the God of the universe wanted you here. And yes, there are things that He's going to call you to walk away from. There are ways that He's going to call us to grow, but you are here because He wanted you here. It's not only that you exist because of God, but you are here in this moment in history because of God. I have another picture. It's a timeline of human history, very official, right? And I want this image to stick in your brain because it's not just that God is like, I don't know, this person, I don't know, that person. Let's just throw, like, He has such intentionality that you were created to be here at this time in history. When you can call to mind and can remember that you are not only existing because of God, but you are here at this moment in history because of God, it will awaken you to the possibility that God desires to use you to bring His kingdom to earth. God desires to use you to transform your class at your school. God desires to use you to help other people draw their attention to the one who made them. God decided, He dreamed that you would be here in this moment of history. And you might go your whole life trying to figure out, well, why specifically? Why would God want me to be alive here and now? But I can tell you for a fact that He made you for this moment, to bring others to Him in whatever unique way He desires. You are here because of God. This transforms everything. And the last picture I want to show you is this. You know where this is? It's here. You matched up that amazing map we made with this one, and you figured it out. I believe that you are here because of God. David says, all of my days were laid out before I was born. You had intentionality in my life, and however you got here, whether you signed up the day it opened, or whether a friend convinced you, or whether you decided to give it a chance, or whatever circumstance allowed you to be here this weekend, God had a hand in it. God wanted you here. Maybe He wanted you here just to pull you away from some of the drama and the intensity that you're experiencing at home. Maybe God wanted you here just to take some time to refocus your faith and your attention on Him. God wanted you here in this space. Maybe it's just to say, I'm going to rest in His goodness through worship and through laughter and through teaching. You are here because of God. What an act of love. That the Creator of the universe would dream you up and say, this is the person that will be born at this moment in history, and I'm going to call them by faith to turn their hearts towards me. Maybe you are here this weekend to turn your heart towards God for the first time or the first time in a long time. Deciding to believe, to have faith that you are here because of God, wherever it is you are, is going to open your life to adventure. you walk into a coffee shop and maybe you get a Frappuccino and you're like, whatever, I'm at a coffee shop, I paid for this Frappuccino. Or maybe God has a divine appointment for me. God has a plan for me at this coffee shop. And all of a sudden, I'm looking around to see who I can connect with or who might have something for me. Or I go to a weekend away at Spring Hill Camp with Lifeline. And I think this is another camp that I went to. I go to camps. I like going to camps. Or God has me here to change my future forever. Do you see what I mean? If I believe and I walk into this space or a small group time or even casual conversations with friends, that God has me here for a purpose, that I am here, I am in this moment because of God, and He's calling me to follow Him. He's calling me to believe in Him more closely. I believe that's going to open us up for a life-changing weekend. And it's not just that He decided that you would exist. It's that He sees you and has seen you this whole time. As I close, I want to invite the band back up, and I want to land here. Because so many of us are desperate to be seen. We're desperate to be noticed by our mom or our dad. We're desperate to be noticed by our friends. We're desperate to be noticed by authority figures. We want them to see us and acknowledge us. And I just think all along as we've been living to be seen, with this desire in us to be seen, the one who made us has been seeing us. David says, I think it was in verse 16, he says, "You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book." David says, before I was ever born, you saw me. And before you were ever born, He saw you. And as you grew up and you tried crawling, what an adventure that was. And you tried walking, and you weren't very good at it at first, but then you got better. Congrats. And all of these things, all of these milestones you've had up to this point, He's seen you. And as you've been desperate, as you maybe have even sinned, you've done wrong, trying to be noticed by others, all along, the one who loves you 100%, He's been seeing you. And He's been gently, like a gentle father, encouraging you to follow Him, encouraging you to get your identity from Him. And maybe you are here at this place, at this time, to do just that, to say, I'm done trying to get love from other things. I'm getting my love from my Father in heaven. And so my encouragement to you this weekend is to have the faith to believe that God has you here for a reason. Whether you wanted to be here or not, you're here. I'm here. And I am open to what God would do in me through the time of worship, through some great teaching we're going to hear. And I plead with you to be open to what God might want to do in your life. You are here because of Him. And so as we start Snow Camp, I want to invite you to stand and sing out in declaration of the fact that He has been good and He has been seeing you all along.